This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm a writer-collector Dave Mandel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast, brought to you by Juliens Auctions. They're having their big Jim Henson Company 70 years anniversary auction, November 25th, 2025, in Hollywood, California. And Juliens will be our sponsor for these next couple of episodes. Yeah, so thank you, Juliens. And we've got a whole bunch of exciting Henson content coming your way, starting with this show, which we'll get to in a few moments. But hi, Ryan. How you doing today?
Hi, Dave. No, this is very exciting. We the guys at Juliens reached out. They were looking for the right sort of moment to come in with something that I think folded over to our sort of interest Venn diagram, and the Henson auction just seemed like a perfect place to jump in. We were both very excited to take it on, and I think it's nice. It's nice to kind of branch out a little bit and bring a new set of voices, I think, over into the podcast sphere. How's all things with you, Dave?
This is good. I'm enjoying the fact that we've become such good actors. Ryan and I just did an episode of the Escape Hatch podcast where we actually talk all about the Maltese Falcon, which will be coming, I guess, soon. And we've literally just spent 2 hours talking to each other, and our ability to pretend like we haven't, I think, has gotten really good. I'm good, Ryan. Nothing too exciting going on.
I like your shirt. I haven't seen that one before.
Thank you. You too. So anyway, we've gotten very good at this thing. No, nothing too exciting going on here. I, like a lot of Los Angeles, was up very late last night with this crazy 18-inning Dodger game.
Oh my God. I was up early this morning with it. I woke up and it was still on. I was like, all right, let's do this thing.
It was pretty wild, but I can definitely say I accomplished nothing last night. Like I sat down to do some stuff, and then that all just went out the window. So
Los Angeles GDP, I think, went off a cliff yesterday.
Yes, a bad night for IP, Los Angeles IP last night. Not good at all. But
I was sat there thinking about how embarrassingly the Yankees would have lost that game.
I feel like it would have been over. It would have been over innings earlier, so I think it would have been fun. Although, of course, they did manage to show Freddie Freeman hitting the home run from last year in extra innings. So, that was a lovely reminder of Yankees past. But it did make me think about it. I guess we'll see what happens if I maybe to try and go to Dodger Stadium for one of these two games. Not so much tonight, but maybe tomorrow, seeing how things go. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think this is an all-time classic series. It just has that feeling, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it go 7.
It's been really fun. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not the biggest Dodgers fan, but I live here in Los Angeles, so be it. But I don't know. It's been fun, and I love baseball, so maybe. So that's what's been on my mind as much as anything else. So
a solid maybe. For a World Series that's probably already over by the time you hear this.
If I could snap my fingers and transport into Dodger Stadium, I'd be the happiest man alive. It's the getting to Dodger Stadium,
my goodness,
and the getting out of Dodger Stadium. And these are not original thoughts, but that's the part where all excitement is drained out of me, like the idea of going. What's new in props with you? Anything exciting prop-wise?
I have a show and tell, Dave.
Ooh.
Here we go. Let's see if I can keep this thing all together. But I kicked up my bat grappler today.
Very
displayed
nice.
With
Bravo.
harpoon. And do you see the brilliant little piece of engineering that Chris did? Because we couldn't get it in the gun because it's too thick. You can see how thick the shaft and the spear is. But he built this little thing to run alongside it in parallel. And as long as it's sort of displayed level, it has the illusion that it's coming out of the gun. It's almost like a museum display, something the way you would do something without affecting the original. And you can see, here obviously the illusion kind of, comes apart. But as long as you're here and the shelf is sort of eye level, look at that.
Don't get me wrong.
Isn't that nice?
I love the illusion, but even when I see it flat on, it doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. It's two artifacts together, but it is gorgeous and well done. That is a lovely, lovely display. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Chris really did a killer job with it. So I'm really thrilled. I saw him in person today because actually my life has been podcasting and broadcasting today because I was over at Prop Store filming
Brought to you by Juliens and Heritage.
the December auction. So more on that to come. But I got to pick this up in person and see all that. So that's what's new for me. What's new in props for you, Dave?
I believe I'd spoken in the past. Mine is very similar. I think I spoke in the past that my neuralizer from Men in Black was being worked on, that the electronics were being worked on, and the spring system was being worked on. And Tim Ralston did fix it up really nicely, replaced the missing dial that was missing, got the electronics working, got the spring working, and built a lovely stand for it, very similar to the stand that yours was on, although more to scale, obviously, with mine. And so I was able to pick that up, and you can see this little video here of it working and whatnot. Very, very excited and very happy to sort of both have it back, and I think it really looks really fantastic. Just night and day, both in terms of the fact that the way it's now displayed, but also just the working elements to it. So yeah, really cool. Yeah, so
love that piece.
Very
well
very
done.
excited and very very happy. And that was really fun, and just to get that and pick it up. And by the way, I should mention, and Tim is so crazy, and I'm going to say this right now here on this podcast. Tim, send me a bill. He's like, oh, it took so long. I'm sorry. And I'm just like, you must bill me, sir. Yeah. But he did also surprise me, just because I think it's a similar display mechanism. He made a display for me for my resin lightsaber as well. So that has been a piece that has been sort of sitting, wrapped in
archival
bubble wrap. Yes, archival bubble wrap. And now that also will now be able to go on display. And here is a picture of that.
Send a picture of that to me. Yes. I want to see that after we hang up here. I don't have to wait for the podcast.
Again, very similar. Very similar. If you think about what a lightsaber looks like and what a neuralizer looks like, obviously you can see the similarities, but very, very pleased to have that as well. So that was a pleasant surprise on top of everything else. So yeah, that was very fun. Yeah.
Should we introduce our awesome guests here?
Here we go. So speaking of coconuts, we are very excited to have just two of the key people behind this Henson, Jim Henson Company 70 years anniversary auction extravaganza. The first is Karen Falk, who is the director of the Jim Henson Company archives, and the second person is actually my good friend Lisa Henson, the CEO of the Jim Henson Company. Lisa, Karen, thank you guys both for coming. Lisa, I am laughing so hysterically that I have gotten you to do this. This is really making me laugh. This is such an excellent waste of your time. I'm really pleased. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let us dive in. This thing is coming up. I know by the time this actually airs, the catalog will be out and people will be poring over it, but I've already seen on the internet, basically, like the Henson people, the Muppet fans, the Henson fans are foaming at the mouth. I think there's an excitement, a real palpable level of excitement for this catalog. I know we're excited about it. We were lucky enough to get a sneak peek. It's just really wonderful. So just tell us, how did this happen? It's kind of exciting. Yes, it's the 70 years, but how long has this been the making? When did this occur to you? How did it come about? Anything? Where did this all start? Because this is really momentous.
It actually started because we closed our storage facility in London and had to bring back to this country all the props and set dressing from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance television series. And when it came back, we unpacked that, and it filled an entire soundstage. And we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So Karen, started working with Netflix archives and placing things with them, and they placed things with us. And we were kind of trying to decide where these pieces would go. Some are going to museums. And then there was so much more. So that really was the start of it. And it was like, well, should we do an auction with Age of Resistance, or should we open it up because we know there's real interest in amongst our fans of owning something that's authentic, and we've never sold a thing.
But you easily could have just done an Age of Resistance auction and called it a day there. And it is kind of wonderful that you guys kind of went that extra mile. The notion of the fans wanting stuff that you've never done this before, had you been approached over the years? Like, is that something where people had like come to you? I see Karen's nodding a bit. So is that something where like auction people have reached out before?
Not so much the auction houses, but fans have written to us and said, "Oh, how can I get a Jim Henson Company puppet? How can I get something from my collection?" And I've always directed them to go enjoy them in the museums that we've donated them to. But there's never been an opportunity to purchase something directly from us before.
Right, officially. That is wonderful. You mentioned the museums, and I think this is sort of an important thing because I think when people look through the catalog, there's an incredible amount of stuff there. But there's also things, let's be honest, that aren't there because where are they? They're in museums.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have done just a really just lovely job. And I don't quite know when it started, but basically really, I think you said seeding really 5 different museum collections throughout the country. Just kind of give us a little bit of that as well. And this goes back like a while, obviously.
Yeah.
Karen, speak about how, my mom hired Karen, and my mother had a great sense of history and legacy, and initially had a relationship with the Smithsonian, but hiring Karen to do so many things, not just the relationships with the museums, but Karen, tell a little bit about what you do at the archives.
So our archives tries to document the creative output of the company. And so that involves collecting things, but it started off with everything that was from the first 35 years of the company.
Wow.
That needed to be sorted through and put in order and cataloged and stored properly and what have you. And then finding ways to share it. That was something that Jane Henson was particularly dedicated to. She formed a legacy group whose mission was to share these stories and to share this work. We worked on travel exhibits and loans, and then eventually the family decided to make these very large donations to museums to be able to set up permanent places. People could come and learn about Jim Henson and learn about his company. So we worked with the Museum of the Moving Image in New York, in Queens, and they have a large collection and a permanent gallery and a travel exhibit all about Jim Henson and his company. The Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta has the largest collection of Jim Henson materials, and half of their museum is all about Jim. And the Smithsonian has a very, very special collection with Jim's very first puppets and some of his major characters in their collection, and he's represented in their History of Entertainment Hall. We also have given items, including a really robust collection of Age of Resistance materials, to the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle,
Oh, okay.
which is a wonderful museum. And they're actually honoring Fraggle Rock this month, which is very nice.
Great.
And then the Academy Museum received material from The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and a couple other film projects.
Gotcha.
So there's a really nice representation of Jim's work and opportunities to share more contemporary projects from the company with these institutions and do programming and really reach people who are interested in these stories.
Yeah, the first time I saw, I think, a Muppet in the flesh was at Mopop. There was a traveling exhibit of celebrating the Muppet Show. I don't remember exactly what the name of the exhibit was, but I remember that you guys had that great, it was the pitch reel that was used to sell the Muppet Show, which I thought it was hilarious and was blown away by it. All the pitch itself conveyed the tone and the sense of humor of the eventual show, and I just thought it was wonderful. And then just the array of Muppets and Henson Company things that were on display there. It's such a cool museum up there in Seattle.
Yeah, we love it. They did a beautiful job with the Age of Resistance puppets. They have a fantastic fantasy hall, and so they've had some on display there, and they're going to rotate more through. We also gave a couple Age of Resistance Gelfling to the Victoria and Albert Museum in England. So that's a nice place to be as well.
Well, I was also thinking they just opened up the big David Bowie thing, so I didn't know if there was any little crossover that way with Labyrinth. So something like that, or I don't know, maybe he kept a costume or something. I don't know. I've been to the Smithsonian. I got a backstage tour, and then I got to see it when they recently reopened, but I can't remember what I saw, which I saw where, but I did get to see that original Kermit, which is just pretty incredible and striking. And I've been to Queens, to that museum. I'm dying to get to Atlanta.
Go to Atlanta. Go to Atlanta.
I know.
Atlanta's very special because half of it is the Jim Henson collection and half of it is a world puppetry collection majority of it was donated by Jim's friend Nancy Staub. And she was a tremendous influence on him understanding the world culture of puppetry. Right. So these two friends, in a way, have these two wings to the museum. And it's really beautiful. It's really beautifully done.
One of the things that was really interesting, sorry, this is a weird sort of sidebar, was I think when I was reading the biography about Jim was sort of like the fact that like he was often finding people at these like puppet conventions and these international gatherings, and that it went so much beyond just like, I don't know, in my mind originally it was a couple of people he knew, but that there was this sort of this larger, I guess, world of the art of puppetry, and that he was always both exploring it and picking people and finding new people from it, which was really interesting. Backing up a whole bunch to Karen, when you first came in, like, how disorganized was it? Like those first 35 years?
It wasn't that disorganized, to be honest. The Henson family, they were savers, and Jim documented his own history, both in words, but also he kept files and,
so he
kept them in order. And
he was good about that. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
And also I did have a predecessor who had started to put the archives together. First, his colleague Bob Payne, who was a friend from high school and college, and in the 80s started to gather together artwork to help make the archives. And then Craig Shemin came to work in the company, and he started gathering scripts. And he really came from a sort of a fan point of view and collected things he, as a fan, really wanted to collect.
He also collected videos.
Oh, wow.
At a time, he would go around and make sure that we had a video copy of some obscure things that we didn't own maybe the rights to, but he created quite an extensive video collection. His name is Craig Shemin, but in Muppet fan world, he's known to be a big expert.
Oh, yeah. Cool. He curates the monthly programming that we do at the Museum of the Moving Image. So the screenings and what have you that we do there. But so when I came in, it was a small collection, but it was reasonably well organized. But then I went to storage and started pulling boxes, and there were hundreds and hundreds of boxes of files and artwork, and
now she has a staff of 3 working under her.
So that's like real. Wow. Lisa, when you were kind of growing up, like, was stuff around your house, or was there sort of a separation of church and state? You know what I mean? Like, did it stay in the workshop, or was it all over the place? I was just always curious.
More separate. We had, my mom and my dad had 5 kids, so the house was like very full of just us. And the only thing is, we did have a few like really ratty puppets from, I think they were from Sam and Friends. Like, they were that old, that were literally just like thrown on the ground to be played with. And there were no like puppet exhibits or anything nicely taken care of in our house. It was kind of a big mess.
Do you remember the moment that some mean lady named Karen came running in and took your Sam and Friends puppets and went, "Stop playing with those. Those are going in a museum"? No?
Well, that is so funny. You know what? Like, I was like quite old by the time
it was started.
Yes, okay. I was like an executive somewhere. But we have had that experience where, particularly, we have a house in London that my father bought during the Muppet Show, and he did keep things, as she said, but in the closets, like, who wants to clean closets? Like, we had closets just full of stuff. And I would go over and just like randomly open a closet and go, here, it's a storyboard for the opening of the Muppet Show. Wow. I think I should send that to Karen.
Incredible.
So for a while we went through the process of just being like, ooh, this, okay, I guess it's important. We gotta ship it over to archives.
So lots of things were saved, but they weren't necessarily all in the same place, right?
Or organized.
Organized, yeah.
I think that's okay, though. I kind of love you're not still finding stuff, are you?
Yes,
in closets?
I am.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yes, we are.
I stand corrected. I apologize.
Including some of the things in the auction.
That's hilarious. One of the things that's really cool that I was curious about has sort of the products, for lack of a better word, always been a part of the collection as well, like the toys and the merchandise and stuff. That's always been a part of the archives. That was fascinating. I did not realize that. Yeah,
way too much. We were since the very, very beginning, since I think the first Sesame Street licensed product, they saved 2 of every single thing. And it became such a bulky, huge collection. And Karen organized an incredible donation to the Strong Museum is the Strong Museum of Play? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
In Rochester.
And they have a huge donation from us because we really didn't think we need 2 of everything, maybe just 1.
There are those really wonderful, really early Sesame Street puppets that where the box, you cut out the back of the box and the box turns into like a...
Right, that's the topper toy.
Child becomes part of the stage that I love, and I've sort of got most of them, but there's like 1 or 2 that like were only in South America or something that are like driving me kind of crazy in a wonderful way.
We actually have amazing footage from the factory.
Those guys show up sometimes in auctions. Have you seen those?
Yes, definitely seen those from time to time, which is kind of fun. Yeah.
There were something like 40,000 of those made or something.
Oh my God.
Lot.
Ridiculous number. But we have footage of Jim visiting the factory in New Jersey where they were making those very first Big Bird toys. It's really fantastic.
That's wonderful. So you decide to do this thing. You've obviously got all that. You've got all the stuff. It's sort of overwhelming. But you make the decision to kind of expand it into this sort of the 70 years of the entire company. Was that, I know this is a very vague sort of, I don't know, Barbara Walters-y question. Was it hard? Was it hard to make the list, to sort of figure out what's in, what's out? Was it painful in any way for either of you, both of you?
If it was painful, it didn't go in the auction.
Yeah. It wasn't painful for me. I think we had so thoughtfully made donations to museums. And so we had a really sense of what the really, those things that should be in museums should be. And otherwise, it was an exciting way to connect with the fans in a way that we haven't done it before. We've done the documentary with Ron Howard and the museums and of course, the biography and everything, but this
and Karen wrote
really
a great
fun
book. Karen also did a great book about the archives called Imagination Illustrated. That's fantastic.
Fabulous. Yes.
Yeah. Multiple editions of it. Actually,
I read the biography, saw the doc, but I've not read that book, so I'm adding that to my list.
It's sort of the visual companion to the biography, I would say, because we worked from many of the same sources.
I was going to give... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because the biography is incredibly accurate, and we were so happy that the author was willing to fact check every single thing and that it was so meticulously done. But, Jim Henson's work is so visual that the one thing you feel the whole way through is like, wait, what did that look like? And so Karen's, her companion book for it is really important if you were reading the biography. you get all the facts right, but you get the flavor and the comedy way better in her book.
When I was reading the biography, I definitely found myself kind of heading to YouTube, and you know, you usually successfully, but sometimes there were things missing, and that was also then why when the Ron Howard that came out, and there were at least sometimes clips. It was even though at that point I felt like I knew the information, it was just a very enjoyable way of watching it. Which was
you could see that clip of that pitch reel for the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. I mean, I sorry, as a fan, when I got in the biography, obviously there are lots of parts of Jim's life story that I didn't know, so that was fascinating. But then just reading about stuff, there were things, and I think I bugged you about it, Lisa, at one point. Like I had no idea about that sort of unproduced movie script that we talked about. That was a very fun, like sort of the big Muppet. I can't remember, $1 million movie or whatever it was called.
The Muppet cheapest.
Yes.
Cheapest Muppet movie.
Yes.
The opposite of the $1 million movie.
Right, exactly. Sorry, I screwed up the joke. Yeah.
But did you like it? I
loved
it.
it. I loved
okay,
it.
good.
I loved it. And actually,
I want to read it.
for what it's worth, I actually still think it's viable. I really
do too.
Yes, I think whatever. So if you're looking for anybody to do a punch up, you got two writers right here. But no, I thought it was fabulous. I really loved it. So to dive into this auction, one of the things that really kind of killed me in a fabulous way, and in a way that maybe I didn't even think it would, are Jim's shirts. You've got a couple of his shirts. Sometimes
I wore one today.
Oh, that's one of his. Oh my gosh.
I decided, well, since you have video, I'm wearing a shirt and a belt buckle.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Love it. Great.
The shirts in the auction, and sometimes they have like a matching, like a tie or something like that. And you guys, and Karen, just kudos, because you've meticulously identified, like, here's a photo of him wearing it, which is, when it comes to auction stuff, that's what Ryan and I love.
We live
that
for
sort of, yeah. And I know it's not the same as a screen used prop, but a here is a photo of him wearing it is just, it's the bee's knees. So it's just the best. But boy, there's just something about the idea of being able to own one of his shirts. And there's a couple of them in the auction. Boy, just fabulous. Was that something? Had you been saving the shirts, thinking one day you were going to do this, or where does that idea come from? Because it's I love it, just love it. Yeah,
I'll answer that, because all the shirts came from the family. He had such a very distinctive fashion sense, and was most famous for wearing a Liberty shirt with a Liberty tie on top of it. So when he passed away, he had dozens of these Liberty ties. So at the time, we gave a lot of them away, the ties, to friends and colleagues, and so people could, I have one of his famous Liberty ties. But the shirt sort of sat around for a while, and I was the only person who fit in the shirts. So
very, very convenient, Lisa. Very convenient. Yeah.
So I still have a lot of the shirts, but there were some that just, were, as I said, they fit because we either had a photograph of it, or some were in very good condition, and just I didn't wear them, and my son didn't wear them. So a lot of the clothes were still in really beautiful condition, and we just know people like Jim Henson's sense of style. Esquire did Esquire UK did a really good article about his fashion sense after the biography film came out. Some young guy just looked at that film and was like, I love this fashion. And he went and curated a lot of photographs of the 70s and 80s look. And my dad was very fashion conscious and really wanted to create his own look, that nobody else was dressing that way. And he rarely went out of the house not kind of dressed.
It was fun, though. For that article, we did, do deep dive looking for examples of Jim's, very specific fashion sense. And that made it a little easier when we went to match these to photographs, because we had already sort of done the research.
You've done the hard work. It's you know, again, so much of these auctions are nostalgia. We talk about this all the time. You know, for the collectors, it's possessing a piece of something that is a fond memory or a moment that, you know, that are like, how do you capture watching Fraggle Rock? Well, now all of a sudden you could have an actual Fraggle puppet and all of that kind of stuff. But I hope this doesn't sound too whatever, but like for something like your dad, who I think means so much to so many people, there is something about being able to own one of his shirts that feels like you get a little piece of him in a really lovely way. And I'll go one step further. That isn't like, oh, here's just a random autograph, or here's like I don't know, like a bank check he signed or something like that, which occasionally you see in these random sort of autograph auctions. It's a really lovely piece of him, and it feels so personal in a really wonderful way that I do think, I think that's something the fans as of today don't, when this airs, they'll know about it, but right now they have no idea that's coming down the pike. And I think they're going to be, I know it's not about prices realized, but I think they're going to really surprise people, because I think there's going to be crazy demand in a really,
Wow.
I think so. One man's prediction.
Well, something about the
Go, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say that it really does represent something about his creative approach to life, his sort of artistic vision. You know, the clothes he chose for himself were very meaningful. We have also like a set of his business cards, and again, they're just little cards of, you know, little squares of cardboard, but they're from different eras. And the stationery that we have in the archives and the sort of letterhead and everything, each of those were very specifically designed to match a kind of you know, graphic branding that he wanted to present.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna assume, because when I looked at those cards, I was like, I bet he like picked every one of these in a great way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Similarly, there's a collection of the company Christmas cards that, you know, I think that would be impossible to assemble other
Right.
than if you bought it at this auction. You know, there's some really cool things like that, you know.
It's funny, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a real similarity. And I wonder to what extent, when you guys created the archives, there was any inspiration from what like George Lucas was doing at the time up in Marin. Because he's the first guy I always think of as like sort of a single creative entity that created his own archives. But the Star Wars yearly Lucasfilm Christmas cards are also very highly sought after. So I thought of that when I saw the Christmas cards in sort of a, well, now here's some more Christmas cards people are going to really, really want and try and like go crazy for, which was really, really interesting.
I know maybe we weren't going to talk about things in the auction that much, but I cannot resist pointing out.
Please.
I cannot resist pointing out what I think is the most underestimated item in that catalog, which is George Lucas's card to Jim.
Yes.
That was delivered by Darth Vader to the set of Labyrinth, and there are pictures of Darth Vader doing that, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and the whole story is in the catalog, so the whole little story is there. Yeah,
I put that in the catalog for the real collectors, so I hope people go for it.
well, it's
That
such a
brings me
nice
to
illustration of these creative connections that Jim made as well.
Yeah, with other people, and they had such a beautiful shared kinship too. That was one of my favorite items, just going through on the first blush, the first time I scanned through. But I mean, that was actually one of my questions, which is, was there a kind of singular approach when you guys were trying to figure out what to put in the auction, or were you just kind of doing like, yeah, it'd be great to have some stuff from the Fraggles, and we have all this, you knew you had the Age of Resistance stuff that you sort of, you know, was the foundation that you built it around, but was there a singular approach, or were you kind of just going through and seeing things as they came up, or what was the
Well, it was sort of two-pronged. You know, we were looking at our storage inventories, both our archive storage and then our production storage, which had a lot of the set dressing and things like that. And we were looking at the 70 years of the company and our chronology and all the different projects. And we were saying, well, what can we pull that will illustrate the sort of breadth of our work and at different price points because, we want to be able to reach all the different fans.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how can we, sort of tell little stories about the continuing output of the company. So it was fun to have, we know that we have fans with very specific passions. So, maybe it's fans of the Christmas toy.
I knew you were going to
Um,
say the Christmas toy.
Well, because there are really big fans of
It's
that
really
show.
obscure, and people are really fanatical
But there's a
about
cult
it.
about it. Yeah. No, but that's
And the major characters, we've put in museum shows, but we had a lot of sort of secondary characters, and we don't really have an opportunity to exhibit them or use them in our archive. So it just seemed like, something that could be accessible to fans. Or, I know there's a fan who loves the Muppet Treasure Island sing along video. And I've heard from him a lot about the puppets, the very specific puppets in that video. And we have the boat from that, which is it's big, but it's
Yeah.
such a great thing and so much fun. And, a lot of that set dressing from those really beloved films from the 90s, the Treasure Island and Christmas Carol and what have you.
I love the map. People are going to go nuts
Oh.
for the map.
When we found
Also,
that.
what about a treasure chest from the Muppet Treasure Island?
Yeah.
That's cool. No, the map's amazing.
Yeah.
There's two of those. Brian has the other one in his office. We didn't know that we had so many props and set dressing in storage. So I think our biggest discovery along the way, because we went primarily looking for older puppets, and then realized that we had a lot of props and set dressing in storage that we weren't aware of it. We were not tracking it. Those have not factored in really to our museum business.
Did that change? Did that change though? Meaning, as you realized, oh my God, look at what we have, and you do put some things in auction. Did you then think to yourself, well, wait a second, maybe this one should be in a museum, or maybe this one should be in an archive, or no?
Not really.
Well, there were a few things
but we don't focus on props.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But Karen, go ahead. If you want to say that you saved the props, sure.
No. But certainly from Age of Resistance, we have a robust selection of props that we
Right.
saved. But we did find things that we thought, oh, that would be nice to have for our archives. But as an archivist, I'm not a completist. I'm looking more for a sampling to be able to document the work and to exhibit it or tell stories. But I don't need to keep every single one of everything. It's more of a curated archive.
I think one of the things with the props that was really interesting to me, and some of, like, I guess I'll call it the costumes as well, and for me it was like, oh, duh, of course, is you have the Muppets, and then they do wear different clothing, and they do hold Muppet things that aren't like, that you can't just buy in a store. Like if you need Muppet scissors, they have to be their own thing. So when there are these props and like a shoe or a Miss Piggy, whatever, I also loved from, I think, is it the calendar where there's like the Fozzie Bear. I remember that.
Oh my gosh, you landed on one of Karen's favorites.
Oh, I love
she
that.
She loves those costumes.
Fozzie Bear outfit. Those costumes, I understand, someone might go, oh, well, I wish there was a Fozzie Bear. Okay, great. All good. But his costume from that, I remember that shot. And so I don't know, I loved seeing some of that. Just really, I guess I wasn't thinking about that kind of stuff. And so it really was surprising in a fun way. And then I'm going to, just to talk about this for a minute, because I think again, it's all great. I know there are things, again, it all speaks to us at different places. The Christmas Carol, the busts. I mean, that's a biggie, I think, for me, certainly. But just in terms of like actual, how do I say this? Jim Henson Company puppets, or Muppets, I should say. I apologize. The Fraggle Rock section it's overwhelming. I mean, it's really overwhelming, and it's just stunning to see. I guess, again, just because they're so of their time and the past, so many key Muppets or key Fraggles. I forgive me for the terminology. I'm assuming there are other Fraggles in other museums and whatnot, but you actually still had I don't know what to call it, an extra set that you were able to put these in. I mean, it's incredible. The chance to own one of these from you guys. I don't know how else to put it.
And it's from the original. It's from the original Fraggle Rock.
Right, the first incarnation, the original HBO version.
We have somewhat of a divergent path between the Fraggle Rock things in the auction and the Dark Crystal things. Because with Dark Crystal, almost nothing from the original movie was available. Everything was donated and or is in somebody's collection. And then so we have everything from the television show, which was vast and, biggest puppet production ever made, worth noting. But then it's the opposite with Fraggle Rock. So there's nothing from the new Fraggle Rock.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because it's everyone's favorite part of the show when I interrupt. The stuff from the newer puppets from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Obviously, some of them are familiar characters and whatnot, but what's beautiful about that is just sort of, if you will, the art of puppetry. They are cutting edge, state of the art, just beautiful puppets from a really beautiful show. The Fraggles are pure nostalgia. And forgive me, that sense of Jim in them. You know what I don't know how else to put this. Like the core Muppet gang, I guess, for lack of a better word, that I think is going to make people crazy in a great way.
They're also in very good condition. I think one of the reasons I brought up the new show, which we're incredibly proud of, and I shouldn't have said the other one was the real show, because the new show is very, very real. But we went into the storage for production reasons on Fraggle Rock, and we were shocked at how good everything was.
Yeah.
So many puppets from the original Fraggle Rock series do appear in the new Fraggle Rock series. They were actually performable. The fabrics were vibrant and colorful. Wow. So the quality of the ones that are in the sale, equally good. They, for various reasons, were not used or wouldn't be performed.
They were
Maybe they're not performable.
Our creature shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the quality of the way they were built and the fabrics that they were made of made them hold up really, really well.
Yeah, I love the Doozer.
Oh, that's one of my absolute favorites. I mean, unfortunately, the Doozers in general, the original ones most of them are pretty fragile, and you can see them at the Center for Puppetry Arts and Museum of the Moving Image. But it was so great to have one that we could, put in this auction, because it was such an important part of the show.
Yeah, being
they're very
foam,
fragile.
They're fragile. Yeah.
But they're beautiful, and we have his little helmet and his little boots.
It's
and
so
you can,
great, the boots.
Well,
and
we were thinking, should we put the boots on the Fraggle, when the creature shop was setting him up, but he has great toes, and who wants to cover those toes, So he has, and we have some tools from the original show, so he has his little megaphone.
That's so great.
And his mustache. I really love him. But those Fraggles,
I also love the squash bird. He's that was a specific memory of mine.
Oh,
and I recently found, on the original sort of sales document that was created with Michael Frith's original illustrations, there's a little image of a squash bird sitting there, and I was looking through
just an actual little sketch of a squash bird.
And I was really looking at it, and I said, "Oh, wait, that's that puppet." It's really a bit of a detective job, figuring out what's what. We've put some of the background Fraggles on display at museums. There's one down at the Mississippi Children's Museum, and even though it's not sort of one of the main Fraggle fives, it looks fabulous, and it really represents the joy that's in the show. And so we were so excited to be able to include so many of these in this show.
Also, since you mentioned Michael Frith, and he designed all the Fraggle characters, Doozers, Wargs, he designed the entire show. It's also worth mentioning that the archives did an incredible job identifying the builders, sculptors, the designers behind a lot of these pieces. And that information is not easy to find. you know. So fortunately, in the catalog, you can see, in most cases, who designed or built the puppet.
Wow. I'll throw this out. If anyone listening is in the greater Bermuda area, the wonderful Michael Frith has an exhibit at the Bermuda National Gallery right now, The Art of Michael Frith. You can see a little bit of it online, but not a lot of it. Maybe that will change, but it just opened here in October. So if you are one of our thousands of listeners in Bermuda, go check it out. I have always, maybe not so much in this auction, but I will simply say I've always been a fan when you guys have done the various books where the artwork is included. It's always a favorite sort of part of yes, exactly, the Henson world to me of the sketches that went into it, and often for me, how close the sketches. You were talking about like the bird puppet where. It's always, to me, like how close they are, or you get to see like, oh, wow, it was really fully realized. And then, they built it, which is just really, really fun. Yeah.
But what's really extraordinary is there's so many sketches of just, 3 or 4 lines or something with a few eyeballs. And the puppet builder has been able to bring it to life in 3D.
Yeah. Bring it to life, bring it 3D. Add depth to it in a way and character to it. Yeah.
And yet it still looks at that original little tiny sketch. I feel so fortunate because my office is in the space for the New York Creature Shop. And so I'm around these people all the time. It's a real privilege, really.
And she has the original concept art right there in a drawer behind her.
That's amazing.
There's a little bit of concept art in the auction. And I believe there's original concept art for Farscape.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a devoted fan base, so we wanted to give them something original.
Huge fan base. You guys did all the creatures and aliens, right? For that, basically,
we produced
that was
the whole show.
Oh, I don't think I realized that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, produced it. Brian directed a lot of it. Yeah.
Very cool.
I also wanted to say, you were saying before, like, how did we piece things together? We were also a little bit inspired by looking at some auction catalogs from Juliens, because like we wouldn't necessarily have remembered to put in film cans and puppet carrying cases. And those, we were reminded to do that by looking at other catalogs.
Yeah, I love the Muppet movie. I think it's Muppet movie, right? The Kermit branded the 2 film canisters.
Yeah, and
those
the
are so
puppet
great.
cases are
classic. Those wood boxes.
They're actually like heavy black cardboard.
There's one of those in the auction. Yeah. And then there's a couple crates from Muppets Tonight. That's really fun. But I think one of my favorite things is this tool from our creature shop in New York. We were talking to Melissa Creighton, who's the manager of the shop, and as we were pulling puppets and other things from storage, and she said, I have a tool that might be fun to put in the auction to sort of behind the scenes, sort of thing. And it's a blower that you plug in, and it was used to keep the puppeteer in a full body suit cool.
Oh,
so
wow.
like and in this one specifically has written in black marker on it, Muppets, Sesame, Barkley. And it was specifically for Barkley, the dog, who they still trot out and use, and he still performed on Sesame Street. But I said to Melissa, don't you need that? She said, oh no, we have much lighter, newer tools. This is an old one, like from the 70s. And I mean, how fun for somebody to have that in their workshop or whatever. It's just, to me, like a really fun thing. And it makes you think about, the puppetry and the puppeteers and the hard work that they're doing.
Yeah, I think all the behind the scenes stuff, some of the crew gifts and that kind of stuff. I mean, again, that connection to it, it's really, really special.
Recently we were traveling a bunch, just taking flights. So I'm always downloading things to put on my, I have 2 little girls, put on their iPads. to while away the hours as we fly from place to place. And I saw it, randomly stumbled across on Disney Plus. They have the old dinosaur show, which I grew up with and loved very much in the early '90s, because that was I was in sort of middle school at the point, so it was the perfect sort of timing for me. So I just downloaded it for the two of them, and I would just put things on and just let them sort of find things. And they have both like injected this show like straight into their veins. It's on now every morning when I come down after making breakfast. So I was excitedly sort of scrolling through the catalog, but I was delighted to see the poster that you guys have in there. And then I was just wondering, what is that stuff? Did that stuff survive? Is that all the stuff from that? Because basically, when you watch that show, everything in that show is sort of made. Is it still around?
There is not, we don't really have set dressing, but we have some of the puppets, and
Okay.
but not, we didn't want to put them in the sale because, again,
Yeah, understood.
it's sort of a rare thing, but we wanted it represented in the sale because it's such an important project. So, we had the poster we could put in the sale. So that
Yeah.
was kind of our thinking as we were pulling, this is a project we really want to represent, but we don't have a puppet or a prop, but we do have a press kit or a style
Mhm.
guide or something like that we could make sure that fan gets to find their thing in the auction catalog.
Seeing that it hit me, I think, because in general, but also because it's literally lot number one, the Muppet Show style guide binder. The fact that, well, I mean, again, I guess maybe it doesn't surprise me that you have one, but that you had one to spare and put in. I'm so excited to go see that and flip through it and sort of like see it and possibly bid on it. It's really, really exciting just to see, I guess, pieces of the original show. I guess that's one that jumped out at me.
There's a Sesame Street one too, much later in the auction. More towards the end. But
I think maybe more contemporary, or maybe in my brain. I don't know why.
It might be from
1988.
Okay, so not too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really, really fascinating. And then just a lot of the fan stuff, like all the various like Muppet magazines and stuff. Which again, just the opportunity to get them all in one place. I guess very, very fun. Not to try and sum it all up, but do you each have, I guess, not what you think is going to do best, not whatever, but just, do you have a favorite piece in the auction, each of you? Like your just personal favorite? Like, I don't know, if you had no connection to the world and we're going to keep one thing for yourself, or whatever criteria you guys would want to use. What's your personal favorites?
I do. I would definitely be going for myself for a mounted Skeksis head. I think they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, and they're exactly identical to the puppet head, and were used just as much as the puppet head. And we just kept the puppet heads attached to the bodies for the purposes of the museum displays. So the head is exactly the same as the head that's in the museum on those characters.
And the heads are like fully animatronic, right? They're like they're fully animatronic. I mean, that's pretty.
A hobbyist could probably hook it up.
Yeah, I think you can hook that up to something, some kind of power or something or other. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Nothing's meant to be performable, but
fair enough. We're not telling you to plug it in, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
What about you, Karen?
Karen, how about you? Yeah.
I mean, I do love that doozer. That's what I would take home. But as we were pulling boxes from storage of things that we really hadn't, had been cataloged 30 years ago or something that we hadn't really looked at, we were looking at a lot of promotional things. And there's a banner of Miss Piggy a la Belle Epoque. And it's very large. I don't know, it's like 8 feet high or something like that. And it's this beautiful sort of Art Nouveau version of Miss Piggy, and it was made for a licensing show party. So, the Henson Company went all out, whatever they were doing. If it was Muppet Babies, they made a video of the licensing head dressed as a nanny pushing a pram in Central Park, or some other themed something or other. So this was from a themed licensing show or toy fair party. And it was sort of based on some of the artwork that Michael Frith did, but then they had another artist actually make the banner, and it's beautiful, and it's such a great representation of Miss Piggy. So it was so fun to pull that out.
Oh, the handwork in some of these things. There's a Muppet. There's a
quilt.
Muppet quilt in there. My goodness, beautiful. Beautiful things. We also should not fail to mention that Carol Spinney has original artwork.
Yes, the last couple of lots are just the most gorgeous Sesame Street,
Sesame Street, yeah.
Drawings by Carol Spinney, which shook me to my core in a wonderful way.
They're so beautiful, and we really have very little Sesame Street, as you said, just these occasional items. And maybe, I wouldn't be surprised if Sesame Street would do an auction one day. But currently there's so little available, and Carol's artwork is so heartfelt and dreamy,
But just like a couple of them that obviously feature Big Bird, and just that's the dream in a wonderful way. A very sort of, I don't know, obviously, as you guys are kind of going to start this, as we get closer and closer to the auction, I'm sure you're going to be talking with a lot of people and whatnot. Is there something, again, forgetting about, obviously, this is a wonderful opportunity to share a little piece of the company with the fans, and that is a wonderful thing. Is there something you're hoping that maybe the fans learn about the Henson Company from this auction, or learn about sort of, I don't know, the company or the history of the company, like from the auction? Is there like not a lesson to be learned, but just something you're sort of hoping that kind of comes through beyond, yes, we're sharing stuff and look at our wonderful history and all that kind of things?
I feel like it's craftsmanship. One of the things that we've always been known for is not just, the creativity and the imagination, but also the craft and, the meticulous way that things are made and constructed. And I feel like the auction is really a celebration of the maker aesthetic and also real things, because we're now in this digital age, and now we have AI imagery, and everything's fake. So I think it's also a celebration of realness. All these things are real. You can hold them, you can touch them. Not only that, they're real because they're authenticated. So they're real in that way too. So it's sort of I feel like it's a celebration of authenticity and craftsmanship.
Kind of amazing also to link that back to when you were talking about the fact that some of the original Fraggle puppets were working on the Fraggle remake, and that these ones are in such good condition, because it would have made sense if they were just made to like last a little while and then not disintegrate, but you know what I'm saying? Like fall, like if no one was thinking about, and again, maybe the plan wasn't, they'll last forever, but the fact that they have lasted forever is a salute to that very sort of craftsmanship and authenticity. Karen, sorry, anything you wanted to add into that? I'm sorry.
No, I actually, Lisa said it very, very nicely.
No, just fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, even watching the creature shops prepare these items for this auction, and the care that went into making the stands and making sure that they look nice on the stands, and
we're creating a medallion for the stands.
Yeah, that says
they're beautifully displayed.
And again, the sort of pride in the work and the care in which we put things out in the world is kind of underscored, by all the different things in this auction.
Really, really just beautiful. This was
great.
Yeah,
guys.
this was incredible. I'm so excited because I'm going to get to go see the stuff on display. I'm so excited about that, and I know this is going to sound silly, and forgive me. I'm excited to bid. I'm not going to lie.
Good.
I'm excited to bid. You're going
to do it live. This is it's live
I don't
here
know.
on the lot.
I always do. It's actually going to be on the lot. I did not realize that. Okay,
it's live on the lot.
That's great.
Wow!
Fun.
So that's
now you have
enough.
to go, Dave.
Yeah, now I have to go.
I'm extra jealous because I always miss out on all these LA events because I'm here in London, but I'm going to go to the V&A and visit some Muppets there.
Well, I'll say it again, November 25th, Juliens auction. You can go there right now and download the catalog, look at the whole auction, register to bid, and all of that kind of stuff. This is really something, and I do think it is, as an end note, as a gift to the fans. It really, really is. Can I tell you, I'm going to take a minute to tell you one of my absolute favorite Muppet things, which I'm not sure anyone ever tells you is their favorite Muppet thing. somewhere in the, I'm going to say in the early 90s, like 93, 94, when I was living in New York City and going to the movies at the Sony Theater, which was on 67th and Broadway, there was a specially made Muppets like before the movie where they kind of sang to you, turn your phone off, don't talk. It's a movie. And it was a whole musical number giving you the rules of the theater. The greatest thing in the world. Just a weird little piece of Muppet history that I absolutely love. And I think it's on YouTube. You can go look it up. Everybody should go check that out. It's one of the lost just a little gem of something that like doesn't deserve to be as absolutely great as it is. And I realize it has nothing to do with the auction, but it's
great to hear,
absolute
though.
favorite.
Yeah.
Absolute favorite. Yeah.
But again, the idea that like something as small as that or as small as a banner for licensing show or whatever, everybody, the same creative juices that made all these great big television shows made all those things too.
And such a sense of fun, like a sense of fun that it feels like, and again, I don't know the people that were working in the Muppet, creature shop, but there is a sense that they were having fun making it because it is so fun to watch. So I think one of the great things about the Henson Company across the board. So yeah, really, really amazing.
And I tried to name my brother Gonzo my baby brother when he was born. So the Muppets have been with me. That was imprinted on me even when I was 3. So.
Good.
But what did you land on? What?
Adam. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I mean, my parents are so boring. He would have been a much better Gonzo.
It was
Almost.
great to have this conversation with you guys.
Thank you guys.
Nice to meet
really,
you,
really
Ryan.
fun.
Thank you, Dave.
So Lisa, will you be at the auction on the 25th if people actually peeking in through a secret?
You should go. I mean, this is like a once in a lifetime thing. I think it'd be really, I don't know. I think it'd be really just to see the live kind of fan reaction. I think it's going to be really something. But
I have bid on auctions in the past. I found it really intimidating, and because I thought it was really intimidating, this would be online by the time this airs. We also encourage Juliens to do a how to bid video where he's teaching a puppet.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah.
oh,
It's really charming. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
great. We'll put a link up to that as well so people can check it out, because I think there are people that know how to bid but are going to want to watch it just because it's a Muppet learning to bid. So yeah, exactly. This was fantastic. Come back everyone next week. We're going to have more coverage of the Juliens Muppet auction, November 25th. Follow us on all the social media and everything. Where can they write us, Ryan?
dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and let us know. I'd love to know your favorite. Let us know what you think, what your favorite thing in the catalog is. And also, I'd love to know your first Muppet memories. So write us with some of your earliest Muppet memories, and we'll kind of look at a couple of those on the show. Thank you, guys. This was amazing.
Thank you. It was really fun.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye-bye.